This game was personal for Caitlin Clark. Last year, the Connecticut Sun ended the Indiana Fever season by sweeping them in the WNBA playoffs. And to say there was bad blood between these teams would be an understatement. Caitlin Clark, known for her competitive fire, had waited a long time to get her revenge, and she delivered in a matchup that turned out to be as heated and controversial as ever. For context, this wasn't just another regular season game spot in the Commissioners' Cup final was on the line. The Commissioners' Cup is the WNBA's version of the NBA Cup, an early in-season tournament with both a title and a $500,000 team bonus at stake. For Clark, winning the cup would be a major step in her legacy, not for the money she already has million-dollar endorsement deals, but for her teammates who don't. Both teams were desperate to win. From the opening tip, things got intense. Marina Mabrey threw an entry pass to Tina Charles, who kicked it to the 6'5" Olivia Nelson-Oda for an easy finish over the much shorter Lexi Hull. While Mabrey torched Indiana last season, she looked out of rhythm early in this game, losing control in the open court. Bodies hit the deck, and Aaliyah Boston dove on the loose ball, got it to Natasha Howard, who scored and had all of Indiana's early points. The Sun clearly did their homework. Using Indiana's own play against them, J.C. Sheldon shook Clark off the ball, cut backdoor, and scored off a beautiful bounce pass from Tina Charles. Then we got a generational showdown in the post, with Aaliyah Boston attacking hard and finishing over Charles with her left hand. Lexi Hull, now one of the WNBA's premier sharpshooters, grabbed a rebound, pushed in transition, relocated to the corner off the ball, and buried a three. The college rivalry between Caitlin Clark and J.C. Sheldon born in the Big Ten resurfaced as Clark used a fake DHO with Boston to shake Sheldon, who overcommitted, giving Clark space for a wide-open triple splash. Tina Charles answered. With her signature soft hook shot off the front rim, Kelsey Mitchell got in on the action, rejecting the screen and slicing through defenders for a smooth layup. Charles kept working inside another one-dribble hook shot, this time over the left shoulder. Mabrey finally scored on a mid-post turnaround, and Charles remained dominant. Clark then went at rookie Seka Coney, who forced a tough shot, but Natasha Howard cleaned up the miss with second-chance points. On the next trip, Clark faced a double-team off the pick-and-roll and kicked it to Boston, who without looking fed Howard again for a layup, showcasing elite chemistry. Boston then sealed Charles down low, and Clark, from half-court, zipped a quarterback-style pass over the defense for the easiest bucket of the night. To end the quarter, Jaylen Brown, not that Jaylen Brown put the moves on Clark with a behind-the-back crossover, stepped back, contested three, and drilled it to cut the Fever's lead to 1 heading into the second quarter. That's when tensions rose. Sheldon began pressuring Clark full court. After a hard play, Clark turned to the refs, and the two exchanged words. JC told her, "You can't do that," and Caitlin snapped back, "I can do whatever the F asterisk. I want it," before shoving her. These two clearly don't like each other, and the fans were eating it up. Mitchell then took advantage of a mismatch, used a quick crossover, absorbed contact, and finished a tough layup. The Clark-Boston duo kept clicking. When the Sun blitzed Clark, she hit Boston at the elbow, who faked a handoff and knocked down a pull-up jumper. Indiana ran more magic from the inbound. Clark passed to Boston, got it right back, broke the trap with a crossover, and drained a deep three. Another play saw Dantas sneak behind the defense for an easy basket. Then, the Fever forgot about the inbounder. Clark caught it, retreated beyond the arc unguarded, and nailed her third triple of the half. The Fever had seized full momentum. And yes, Caitlin Clark can play defense. She jumped a passing lane for a steal, ran the break, and made Marina Mabrey choose between her and a teammate before dishing off for a score. Next possession, another steal for Clark, as she read a cross-court pass and started a fast break. Dantas missed, but Kelsey Mitchell, despite being the shortest player on the floor, grabbed the offensive board among giants and scored. Indiana was running away with it, but Tina Charles kept Connecticut in it, even at 36, draining a face-up jumper from mid-post. Clark kept orchestrating this time, a Gavango with Dantas, using her eyes to freeze Mabrey and opening the lane for a crafty reverse layup. On the next fast break, Sophie Cunningham found Mitchell, who blew past Tiasha Harris for an easy score. Indiana's lead hit double digits. Cunningham brought the heat too. She shoved Jaylen Brown to the floor during a scuffle. Ended with Indiana leading 47-38. Caitlin Clark was in full control at 12 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, and the stage was set for an explosive second half. Steals in what's shaping up to be a crazy revenge game, but the second half is about to get even more insane, so stick around. Because we're diving into it right after you subscribe to support one of the few real human WNBA creators in a space full of AI robots. The Indiana Fever in third quarters play like prime Golden State, and Lexi Hull is their version of Klay Thompson, a deadly 3-and-D specialist. Aliyah Boston runs the floor coast to coast, kicks it to Lexi in the corner, and that's automatic from a player shooting 55% from 3 this season. But if Lexi is Klay, then Aliyah's Draymond Shea. Fakes a handoff with Clark, draws in the defense, and swings it across court to Kelsey Mitchell in the opposite corner for another 3. That marks Boston's 5th assist of the game, solidifying her status as the best passing big in the WNBA. And of course, Caitlin Clark is the Fever's Steph Curry. She pushes the pace, goes behind the back to lose Sheldon, then patiently waits for Natasha Howard to cut before delivering a perfect dime. Indiana goes on an 8-0 run before the game turns physical. Both teams go scoreless for a few minutes. Clark and Sheldon go at it defensively. Clark gets hit in the face again, and suddenly, Marina Mabrey comes flying. Out of nowhere, body-checking Clark with clear facial contact and sending her crashing to the hardwood. It's a dirty, dangerous play that should have resulted in a suspension. Let's not forget Caitlin Clark is just 2 games back from injury, and WNBA ratings noticeably dipped during her absence. Now she's being blatantly targeted again, and still, no one's stepping in. The WNBA media continues calling these basketball plays, but let's be honest, Clark has now been hit in the face. Shoved and bodied off the ball multiple times. How many more incidents will it take before the league intervenes? Eventually, she's going to get seriously hurt, and everyone will share the blame. The referees took an eternity to reach a decision and still got it wrong. Sheldon was correctly given a flagrant, but Clark, Mabrey, and Tina Charles all received technicals. Can anyone explain how Clark, who was on the receiving end of the foul, received the same penalty as Mabrey, who blindsided her? It's disgraceful officiating. But despite the chaos, there was still basketball to be played, with a Commissioner's Cup final spot on the line. Yet the dirty plays didn't stop. Mabrey, already booed by the crowd, dribbled off a screen, and Nelson Ododa barreled her shoulder into Lexi Hull's face. Hull hit the deck hard, but it was called just a standard offensive foul, and the officials didn't even review it. Connecticut gained some offensive rhythm. While most of Indiana's third quarter points came from the line, they were fouled on nearly every possession. In truth, the third quarter felt more like a UFC bout than a basketball game. Clark was benched for her own safety, so let's skip to the fourth quarter, where things got serious again. Dantas opened with a clean pick-and-pop 3 from the top of the key. Jaylen Brown followed with a transition pull-up 3 to keep Connecticut within striking distance. Indiana responded. Dantas handed off, set a hard screen, and freed Sophie Cunningham for a driving layup. Is every Sun player just out to injure people? Watch Rivers Shea bumped into Clark 3 times before finally getting whistled. Still. Indiana's ball movement was beautiful. Clark to Howard. Lexi driving and kicking to Boston, who stepped into a deep 3 and drained it. Then another hard foul on Clark. How she keeps her cool is beyond comprehension. She has every reason to snap, but instead, she lets her game speak, and speak it did. Watch her break down the defense, blow past Sheldon, cross over Charles, and pull up for a smooth mid-range jumper. Fever up 15, and the sun officially setting on Connecticut. Indiana's inbound execution remained elite. Lexi Hull sprinted. Off-screens tipped the ball to Sophie Cunningham in the corner, and she got the bounce for another triple. Then Caitlin Clark got deep in her bag. JC Sheldon wanted the smoke, and Clark gave it to her, waiting for the recovery. Stepping to the side and launching a deep three right in her face. Splash. Then Clark turned to the Sun bench, taunting them mid-game as she scorched them in real time. Fever up by 20. Timeout Connecticut. But Clark and Sheldon weren't done jawing. Clark stared her down and said, "You can't guard me. You could never guard me," before hyping up the home crowd. That'd be her final moment. She checked. Out after a dominant performance. But the chaos wasn't finished. Sophie Cunningham was knocked to the floor with no whistle, and if you know Sophie, you know she doesn't forget. In the final minute, Sheldon attacked her in transition. But Sophie responded with a borderline WWE move, grabbing her in a headlock and throwing her to the ground. Absolute mayhem erupted. Sheldon bounced up and went right after her. Players from both sides got involved. Sophie was taking on multiple Sun players, and the referees completely lost control. In the end, Cunningham was ejected, somehow more harshly penalized than Mabry earlier. Sheldon also picked up her second technical and was tossed, as was Lindsay Allen, who got caught in the chaos. But none of that mattered. Indiana dominated. Connecticut on the scoreboard and punched their ticket to the Commissioner's Cup final. Caitlin Clark finished with 20 points and 6 assists. Kelsey Mitchell added 17, Natasha Howard had 16, and Dantas chipped in 13. Now, it all comes down to the championship game, Caitlin Clark versus the Minnesota Lynx. Coached by none other than Cheryl Reeve, the same coach who snubbed her from Team USA's Olympic roster. You don't want to miss it, so subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you liked this breakdown, don't miss our last video on Caitlin Clark's historic performance that left everyone speechless. Click the box on your screen to watch. This is DKM signing out. Till next time, peace. Peace.